She said, "I'm returning your Christmas gift. I wanted a Louis Vuitton, not this Coach bag." The Coach bag cost $800. I said, "Exchange it then." Then I returned every gift I bought her that year, got $4,300 back, and donated it all to a homeless shelter. When the shelter tagged me in their thank you post. Original post. I, 31 male, have been dating my girlfriend for about 2.5 years. We don't live together. We split most things pretty evenly, though. I'll be honest. I probably cover about 60% of date nights, trips, etc. I never really minded because I make decent money as a logistics coordinator and she's still working her way up as an office administrator. I'm not rich by any stretch. I drive a 2019 Civic. I shop at Costco. I have student loans. I'm just a regular dude who budgets well. So Christmas rolls around. I spent weeks trying to find her the perfect gift. She'd been eyeing this Coach tabby shoulder bag in this cream color. She showed it to me on her phone back in October, said, "Isn't that gorgeous?" And I screenshot it when she wasn't looking. Went to the Coach store at the mall, talked to the sales associate for like 20 minutes about the leather, the color options, got it gift wrapped in the store. $795 plus tax. That is not a small purchase for me. That's my car payment times 3. Christmas morning, we're at her parents' house. Her mom, her dad, her older sister, and her sister's husband are all there. I hand her the box. She opens it, and I swear to you, the look on her face was like I'd handed her a dead fish. She holds it up, turns it over, and goes, "Oh, it's Coach." I'm sitting there smiling like an idiot because I think she's just processing it. Then she puts it back in the box, closes the lid, and says, in front of her entire family, "Babe, I appreciate the thought, but I really wanted a Louis Vuitton. I've been hinting at the Neverfull for months. It's nice, but it's not what I asked for." The room got quiet. Her dad looked at his plate. Her sister's husband gave me this look like, "Brother, I've been there." Her mom? Her mom nodded, like she agreed. I sat there for a second. My face was hot. I could feel my pulse in my ears. But here's the thing about me. I don't blow up. I go quiet. And when I go quiet, I'm thinking. I said, "You're right. If it's not what you want, exchange it then." She kind of laughed and said, "Well, I can't exchange a Coach bag for a Louis Vuitton. That's like a $2,000 difference." And her mom chimed in with, "He should want to get you what you actually want, sweetie." I didn't say anything else about it. We opened the rest of the gifts. She got me a $40 cologne sampler set from TJ Maxx. Which, hey, fine. It's the thought that counts, right? Except apparently that only applies to gifts I receive, not gifts I give. I drove home that night and sat in my car in the parking lot of my apartment for about 30 minutes. Not angry exactly, just clarity, like a fog cleared. I started thinking about every birthday, every Valentine's Day, every anniversary, every just because gift I bought her that year. The jewelry for her birthday in March. The Spot A package in June for our anniversary. The designer sunglasses she wanted in August. The surprise concert tickets in September. Little things scattered throughout. Flowers, her favorite high-end candles, a cashmere scarf when the weather turned. I pulled up my credit card statements and added it all up. $4,287 in gifts for her over the past 12 months. She'd spent maybe $300 total on me the whole year, and that's being generous. The next morning, December 26th, I started making returns. The Coach bag, returned. The earrings she never wore, returned. The scarf she said wasn't really her color, returned. Anything that still had tags, anything within the return window, anything I could get store credit for, and then return for cash. It took me 3 days and about 9 different stores. I got back $4,312. On December 29th, I walked into the local homeless shelter, the one near the warehouse district that I pass every morning on my commute, and I handed them a cashier's check for $4,312. The woman at the front desk almost cried. She said that would cover meals for nearly 2 months. I didn't do it for attention. I did it because I was sitting there holding all this cash that was supposed to represent love, and I thought someone should actually feel grateful to receive this. They asked if they could post a thank you on their social media. I said sure, whatever. Didn't think much of it. 3 days later, the shelter posted a photo of the check, with my name visible, and a caption thanking me for my incredible generosity during the holiday season. It got shared a lot. Someone from my company's corporate office saw it and shared it on the company LinkedIn. My coworkers started congratulating me, and then my girlfriend saw it. She called me 17 times in 2 hours. I picked up on the 18th. Did you seriously return all my gifts and give the money to homeless people? I said. They seemed more grateful. She lost it, started screaming about how I humiliated her, how everyone was going to know, how her coworkers had already seen the post, how this was manipulative and toxic. I let her go for about 2 minutes and then said, "You told me in front of your family that my $800 gift wasn't good enough. I figured nothing I buy you would be good enough. So I found people who actually appreciated it." She hung up. Reddit, I know some people are going to say I was petty. Maybe I was. But I'm sitting here in my apartment. My bank account is the same as it was before Christmas, and honestly, I feel lighter than I have in months. AITA? Or did I just finally wake up? Update 1, 5 days later. Alright, so this blew up way more than I expected, and I owe y'all an update because things have gotten interesting. First off, thank you to everyone who messaged me. A lot of you shared similar stories, and honestly, it helped more than you know. Some of you called me petty, and that's fair. I can own that, but I don't regret it. So here's what happened after my last post. My girlfriend didn't speak to me for 2 days after that phone call. I figured she was cooling off, and honestly, I was fine with the silence. Then on New Year's Eve, she texted me, "We need to talk. Come to my apartment." I said I'd meet her at the coffee shop near her place instead. I wasn't about to have this conversation behind closed doors where it could turn into a screaming match with no witnesses. She agreed. I got there first. Ordered a black coffee. She walked in wearing the sunglasses I bought her in August. The ones I couldn't return because she'd already removed the tags. I almost laughed. She sat down and immediately started with, "I talked to my mom and my sister about everything, and they both agree that what you did was emotionally abusive." I took a sip of my coffee and said, "Okay, what part specifically?" "The donation. You did it to humiliate me publicly." "I did it because I had $4,300 worth of gifts that apparently weren't good enough for you." The shelter didn't complain about the brand. She got that tight look on her face, the one where her jaw clenches. "You're twisting this. I didn't say your gifts weren't good enough. I said I wanted something specific, and you didn't listen. You showed me the Coach bag in October. I bought you the Coach bag. You opened it in front of your family and told me you want a not a miscommunication. That's entitlement." She stared at me and then said, "And this is the part that really sealed it for me. My sister's husband bought her a Cartier bracelet for Christmas. Do you know how that made me feel watching her open that while I got a Coach bag?" There it was. That's what it was really about. Not the bag. The comparison. The keeping up. I said, "Your sister's husband is a senior partner at a law firm. I coordinate shipping routes. If you want Cartier Christmas, you're dating the wrong guy." She started crying. Not the ugly crying. The pretty crying where you can tell someone's been practicing in the mirror. She said I was being cruel, that I used to be so thoughtful, that I'd changed. I told her I hadn't changed. I just stopped ignoring what was right in front of me. We sat there in silence for a minute, and then she said something that actually kind of broke me for a second. She said, "Do you even still love me?" And I was honest. I said, "I don't know anymore. I think I love who I thought you were." But the person who told me my $800 gift wasn't good enough in front of her whole family, I don't know that person. She left. Didn't finish her coffee. Now here's where it gets messy. 2 days into the new year, I get a text from her mom. A long one. Like essay length. She told me that I had deeply hurt her daughter, that I was financially irresponsible for giving away money instead of investing in the relationship, and that a real man provides for his woman without keeping score. I read it twice. Then I screenshotted it and saved it. Didn't respond. The next day, her sister sent me a message too. Hers was shorter, but nastier. She said I was clearly not ready for a serious relationship, and that I should step up or step aside so someone who actually values her can. Again, saved, didn't respond. Then her dad called me. Now her dad is the only one in that family I actually respect. He's a quiet guy, retired electrician, doesn't say much. He called and said, "Son, I'm not calling to tell you what to do, but I want you to know that what happened at Christmas, I saw it. I didn't say anything because it wasn't my place, but I saw it, and I've been watching it happen for a while. That hit me harder than anything else, because I realized if her dad had been noticing the entitlement building up, it wasn't new. I was just the last one to see it. I thanked him and told him I appreciated the call. He said, "Take care of yourself," and that was it. My girlfriend, I guess I should start calling her my ex because that's where this is heading, texted me the next day asking if I'd calm down and if we could move past this. She also mentioned, very casually, that her birthday is coming up in March and she'd love to just start fresh. Translation: she wants to make sure the birthday gifts still happen. I haven't responded yet, but I know what I'm going to say. Also, the shelter reposted their thank you and tagged my company again. My boss pulled me aside and told me the company wants to organize a volunteer day there because of the visibility. So that's happening. The gift that was not good enough is now generating actual community impact. Life is wild. Update 2, 3 weeks later. Okay, final update, because I think this saga needs a proper ending, and also because some of the stuff that's happened in the past few weeks has been genuinely unbelievable. So after my last update, I made my decision. I called my now ex and told her we were done. Didn't do it over text, because regardless of everything, 2.5 years deserved at least a phone call. She immediately started with "You're making a huge mistake, and you're going to regret this, and no one's going to put up with you like I did." That last one actually made me laugh. Out loud. On the phone. She asked what was so funny, and I said the idea that what you did was putting up with me. She hung up again. Hanging up is kind of her signature move. Within 48 hours, the full court press began. And I don't mean from her. I mean from her mom and sister. They went full tag team. Her mom called me from a different number because I'd stopped picking up her calls. When I answered, she immediately started in about how I was throwing away the best thing that ever happened to me, and how her daughter had been telling all her friends about our future together, and how I was embarrassing the family. I let her talk for about 90 seconds and then said, very calmly, "Ma'am, your daughter told me an $800 gift wasn't good enough because it wasn't the right brand." And you nodded in agreement. I think the embarrassment started there. Dead silence. Then, "You're a very disrespectful young man." Maybe, but I'm a disrespectful young man with $4,300 worth of good karma. Have a good evening. Her sister tried a different angle. She had her husband call me. Now, her brother-in-law is someone I actually used to get along with. We'd watch football together, grab beers sometimes. He called and was honest about it. He said his wife made him do it. But then he said something interesting. He said, "Look, man, between us, I get it. The Cartier bracelet thing. My wife picked that out herself on my card. I didn't even know what it cost until the statement came in. This family has expectations. I've just learned to budget for it." I told him I appreciated his honesty and that I hoped we could still grab a beer sometime outside of all this. He said, "Probably not for a while," and I understood. He's got to live with them. I don't. Now here's the part that genuinely caught me off guard. About a week after the breakup, I started hearing from mutual friends that my ex was telling people a very different version of the story. In her version, I ruined Christmas by making a scene about the gift, then vengefully donated money to make her look bad online. She was painting herself as the victim of an emotionally abusive boyfriend who used charity as a weapon. A couple of friends reached out to ask me about it. I didn't badmouth her. I just told them the truth. She didn't like the gift. I returned everything, donated the money, and we broke up. I said it factually, no embellishment. Some believed me. Some clearly sided with her. That's life. You don't get to control the narrative when it involves two people. But here's what she didn't count on. The shelter social media post was still up. The comments were full of people praising the donation. And a few of our mutual friends, the smart ones, put 2 and 2 together. The timing of the donation, the breakup, the different version. One of my buddies texted me, "Bro, I saw the shelter post back in December, and I just heard her version of events, and literally nothing lines up." She's cooked. I didn't respond to that either, because honestly, I didn't want to turn this into a public trial. The post was there. The truth was there. People could figure it out. Then about 10 days after the breakup, she sent me a long text at 2 a.m. I could tell she'd been drinking because the spelling was rough, and there were about 4 different emotional tones in one message. It started with anger. How dare I throw away what we had? Then switched to guilt. She should have been more grateful. Then shifted to bargaining. maybe we could try couples counseling. And ended with a threat. She said she was going to tell everyone what kind of person I really am. I read it the next morning with my coffee. Didn't respond. 2 days later, she tried one more time. This one was calmer. She said she missed me, that she'd been thinking about us, and that maybe she overreacted about the bag. She said, and I'm quoting this one directly, it wasn't about the bag. It was about feeling like you didn't listen to what I actually wanted. And you know what? I almost bought it for a second. Almost. Because there's a part of me that remembers the first year when she was funny and easy to be around and didn't compare everything I did to what her sister's husband was doing. But then I remembered the nodding mom and the real man provides text and the brother-in-law budgeting for his wife's self-purchase Cartier, and I thought, nah, this is a system. I'm not the first guy to get caught in it, and I won't be the last, but I'm choosing to not be the current one anymore. I sent her one final text. It said, I hope you find what you're looking for. I genuinely do, but it's not going to be from me. Take care of yourself. She didn't respond. First time she didn't have a last word. Felt weird. Felt right. Now the silver lining. The company volunteer day at the shelter actually happened. 12 of us went down on a Saturday, served meals, helped organize their donation storage. My boss brought his kids. The shelter director recognized me and gave me this huge hug in front of everyone. She told me that my donation plus the visibility from the social media post had brought in an additional $8,000 in donations from the community over the past month. $8,000. From one post about one check that started because my girlfriend didn't like a Coach bag. One of my coworkers joked that I should return more gifts. I told them my dating budget was zero for the foreseeable future, so the shelter was safe. Here's where I'll be real, though. I'm not sitting here on some high horse acting like this doesn't sting. It does. 2.5 years is a long time. There are moments, usually at like 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, where I almost text her something stupid. I don't, but I almost do. That's the honest truth. Breakups are not clean even when you know you made the right call. But I'll tell you what, last weekend I was at the grocery store and this older woman stopped me in the cereal aisle. She said she volunteered at the shelter and recognized me from the photo. She told me about this one family that had been staying there through the holidays and how the meals my donation helped cover meant their kids had hot food every day during winter break. She got choked up telling me about it. I stood in the cereal aisle of Costco, trying not to cry next to a pallet of Cheerios. Because that is what $4,300 is supposed to feel like when you give it to someone. Gratitude. Nah, this isn't the right brand. So that's the end of the story. I'm single. I'm broke-ish. My apartment is quiet. But my conscience is clear, and apparently I inadvertently started a community giving initiative that's still going. To the Coach bag that started it all, you were beautiful. You were cream leather. You were $800 of thoughtful purchasing, and you ended up back on a shelf at the mall. But somehow, you still did more good than you were ever going to do sitting in a closet being resented for not being a Louis Vuitton. Sometimes the best gift you can give yourself is the clarity to walk away. Thanks for following along, Reddit. I'm logging off this throwaway now. Be good to each other. And for the love of God, be grateful when someone gives you an $800 bag.